You are listening to the Wildlife Photography Podcast with Rob Reed and Josh Galicki, bringing together the love of nature and photography. Episode 50, we chat to Mr. Puffin. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Wildlife Photography Podcast, because we've reached 50 episodes. So that's a bit of a milestone, Josh.
It is, Rob. It is. You know, we started this, I think it was back in 2022. And it went, in a way, it went by fairly quickly when you think about it. I mean, we've been doing this now for 4 years. It seemed like we just picked it up.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, I don't know quite how we've got here, to be honest. But I've really enjoyed it, I have to say. I've really enjoyed doing them. And, you know, well, I guess that's why we do it, isn't it? Because we like the conversations.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. And it's always great when we have guests on too. So I'm really looking forward to this. Exactly.
So for our 50th episode, we've got somebody on that I've wanted to get on the podcast for a long time. Kevin Morgans, welcome to the Wildlife Photography Podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Enjoying a bit of downtime now. The Puffins have left, so that's nice to have a bit of a relax. It's been a busy few months.
Yeah, because you've been on Shetland, and in fact, we just missed each other on Shetland, didn't we? Because I've just come back from a week on Unst. So you've been sort of running around photographing puffins and seabirds and stuff.
It's actually a long season this year. It started in late March, actually, in an island called Hornea for puffins in the snow, and then right through until the end of July. So it's been a long season, but I've loved every second of it.
Yeah, wow. So I can't think of anybody who's probably pointed a lens at more puffins than you, actually.
I know that is true. I looked at my hard drive the other day. I think it's 1.5 million puffin images over my hard drives, which is pretty ridiculous.
I wrote a blog the other day about, you know, how puffins have probably got to be the most photographed bird, or one of the most photographed birds on the planet. You know, I certainly, when I was doing sort of bird photographer of the year and judging other things, you know, you gets to the point you just think, I'm not another bloody puffin when it comes on the screen. But I mean, there are puffin images and there are puffin images, and your stuff is just next level.
No, thanks. But as you say, you look at the social media feeds each year, and from May till July, which is absolutely flooded by puffin images, it feels. But it's the hard bits to elevate yourself and produce something different or unique, something a little bit more creative than what you normally see, and that's always the challenge.
Yeah. Do you think that almost, you know, those images on social media seem to precondition people into going down certain routes when they're looking at photographing things like puffins and they're trying to recreate shots?
I think so. I think they may well do, because obviously everybody always wants the classic shot, so everybody's always wants the sand eel shot. That's always the when are you returning with sand eels? Where can I get the sand eel shot? That's always the iconic shot that people want.
Yeah, because you take people, don't you? You guide people to these places.
Yeah, all the time. To lead trips to Iceland, to Norway, to Shetland, to Fair Isle. So yeah, a lot of puffin colonies.
Yeah. What sort of first sparked your interest in puffins in particular? I mean, I know you do a load of other seabirds as well, but puffins are what you're really known for.
It's interesting, really, because I would probably say it was actually the opposite way around. It seems like puffins chose me rather than I chose puffins, because I think my first ever experience was going on a day trip to Skoma. And I remember that was the first ever time I seen a puffin. I remember being amazed by how small they actually were the first time I seen them. They were tiny little characters, but full of their personality. And then I went to Skoma once, then went to Skoma again, and then things just seem to just keep moving on. And to be honest, I don't actually know at what point it actually happened where it starts to become known as like the Puffin Man or the Prince of Puffins and all these ridiculous nicknames. But now it just seems to be like a natural transition, really.
Yeah.
And I probably have to actually thank bird photographer of the year a few years back for it quite a lot too, because winning the portfolio prize when I work with Puffins too, that really helped to kind of put me on a pedestal almost, and that was a massive helped to launch my career a bit actually.
Yeah, it's amazing what these competitions can actually do. So many people have said this to me, you know, particularly when I used to obviously being involved with that competition for the first 5 years. So many people have said to me in subsequent years how winning awards in that particular competition, I mean, you know, there are other things like WPY, of course, and all that sort of thing, but winning awards in competitions of that caliber, shall we say, has really helped sculpt and shape their careers and put them.
I completely agree. I think not naming any competitions, but I've had lots of awarded images in competitions, and it seemed like the one in Bird of the Year more than any helped to really kind of drive things forward.
Yeah, I mean
obviously like WildArt of the Year is the holy grail, but Bird of the Year did so much in my career. So I owe it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd agree with that, Josh, wouldn't you? I mean, I know you did really well in Bee Potty for, you know, for certainly the years I was involved.
Especially for bird photography, right? I mean, when it comes to bird photography, for so many years, Bird Potty was really the holy grail, right? Everybody looked at those images. And, you know, speaking of puffin images, Kev, like when I think of images on social media, when I think of trends when it comes to photographing puffins, you in so many ways have set the standard for that. One shot that comes to my mind, and the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, wow, this is a killer shot. So much so, the first time I walked to Herman S., first time I ever got there, I was there with Kerm Khan, a friend of mine. We were there to shoot. And I saw that grassy knoll where you took that wide angle shot. I had to lay down. I was like, I think this is the place.
Copycat.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, here's the Kev shot. If you could talk a little bit about what inspired you to do that, because I think truly you were the first person to really take a wide angle lens and incorporate really and that's one great thing about puffins. Their habitat is stunning, right? You're shooting them in an amazing area. Talk about your thought process and what led to those shots, because really they changed everything, I think, when it comes to puffin shooting.
100%. We've all visited Herman S before. We know what an awe-inspiring landscape it is. Those huge cliffs and the colonies and the landscape, and it makes absolutely no sense to use a long telephoto lens and just shoot an image of a puffin. Like that could be produced anywhere. Like, so then I was thought, well, surely it makes sense to shoot a wide angle because the landscape is so interesting. Why exclude it? Like incorporate into the image. And we know how confiding puffins can be at times. So as long as you kind of take your time and let them approach you, then they're perfectly accommodating for a wide angle shot. And it's just, but the only thing you do need on that grassy knoll is a bit of a head for height sometimes, because if you look to your left, it's quite a big drop down.
Yeah. There are no guardrails there.
No, there's no guardrails up there. So you certainly need a head for height when it comes to puffins.
My brother can't go anywhere near the edge of cliffs. So I was showing him these videos of me with my feet dangling off the edge of the cliffs at Herman S. With the gannets and stuff wheeling around me. And, you know, well, I did have the big telephoto actually on me then, and it's being blown around in my hands and stuff because it's, you know, it gets windy there as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's always a running joke because sometimes I'm actually quite scared of heights, but for whatever reason at Herman X, I always feel completely comfortable up there. Yeah. And my girlfriend always jokes saying that in my former life I was a puffin or Herman S. That's why I'm so relaxed up there.
Maybe you were. Maybe that's why you're so
maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's where my love for puffins came from. I used to be one.
But, you know, isn't it funny? Because I feel completely safe there as well. Although, you know, that is dramatic. I mean, literally, you know, you take one more step and you're over the edge, aren't you? It's
exactly.
One of those places. But you know, it doesn't bother me either. In fact, I quite enjoy it. It makes you feel alive, actually.
Yeah, it does.
With your legs dangling over the edge. It's
yeah, I mean, it's okay on a calm day, but up there when a gale force winds, when it's trying to lift you off the ground, that's a little bit more intimidating then.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be so cold as well, can't it? There, even in the summer.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I love it up there. Like back home was 30 degrees. Up at Hermness was barely touching 10 degrees.
Yeah, no,
It's
that week I spent up there, I was just,
I had a windbreak around the whole time. I had a
yeah,
jacket.
yeah, yeah. You
I
would,
remember,
yeah,
and this was
yeah.
July, mid-July. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't the summer doesn't quite touch it up there sometimes.
No, I had two fleeces. I had
Yeah.
a waterproof over the top to keep the wind out, and I had a woolly hat on. And I'm thinking, why did I leave my gloves at home? It was
Far cry from Bird Fair, Rob, when we were setting up.
well, yeah, because the week before, Josh and I had been just absolutely cooked at
Yeah,
Bird
yeah.
Fair in that heat. In that as we said this in the last podcast, didn't we? We turned up on that Thursday to set up, and we walked into that marquee, and it was like an oven.
Oh.
And I just remember seeing people just absolutely covered in sweat. And
Yeah, I can
you just
imagine.
give up. You know you're just going to sweat, and you give up trying to look halfway
Yeah.
decent. It's just
You can never win a Bird Fair. One year's like that, like a sauna. The next year's like torrential rain, where it's a mud bath there. You never quite win at that event.
Yeah, it's always interesting. But I mean, the years that I've actually exhibited there, since it became Global Bird Fair after COVID, they've been really, really hot. And there was one year, you're right, about 2 years ago, I think, when they had these horrendous thunderstorms and they were bailing out.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I really enjoyed the event, but it always coincides with my Shetland trips now. So whenever I don't get to go anymore, which is a real shame.
Yeah,
I'd love to go again one year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kev, speaking of Hermaness, last time I was there, I was only there once, but this was in 2023. One thing I noticed, and I've talked to, Rob, you and I were talking to like David Tippling and a few people at Bird Fair when it comes to reproduction at Hermaness.
Yeah.
Of all the puffins I came across, I did not see one coming back with eels, unlike Sunborough and other areas I've been.
This is a really interesting discussion, actually, because before you joined the call, Josh, Kev and I were chatting before you came on. I raised this very point, and anyway, Kev, tell Josh what you told me, because this is really interesting.
Yeah, so basically, I visited Hermaness for almost 10 years now, and I've spent months up there camping, and in that time, I've not got one image of a puffin with a sand eel at Hermaness.
Wow!
And basically, when you were up there, you may well have had one day where you had thousands of puffins, and then the next day you may have had no puffins up there, and then you come back again a few days later, and it's not 100% confirmed, but most of the puffins you see at the top of the cliffs are basically non-breeders. So the puffins that do breed are further down the cliffs. But the ones on the top of the cliffs is essentially one big non-breeder colony. And that is why you may well have one day with thousands of birds, then a few days with no birds, and then they come back again, then they leave again, because they're so inconsistent. If you have a proper breeding colony, they would be there all the time, in and out, bringing fish for the chicks.
Yeah.
But Hermness itself it's a really weird concept. It's almost like a staging ground almost for the young juveniles before they go on to breed, because exactly that, you just do not see them returning with sand eels. It's fascinating to think why this location has, because you think it's just so odd to have them coming and going. That just doesn't happen in a breeding colony. They would be there consistently.
Yeah, because it was really weird. They were coming in and out with nesting material. I'm thinking, nesting material in mid-July. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's like as if they are. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is breeding birds there, but the ones on the very top of the cliffs, ones we photograph, they would largely be non-breeder groups.
That makes me feel better, because my assumption was that these were all failed breeders. And
no, that's
okay.
And sometimes you see them doing that head cocking pose quite a lot, and that's normally what the juveniles do when they're looking to kind of find a mate. See these big groups of these young puffins doing it, and it's fascinating to watch. And don't worry, it's not any failed breeders or anything. It's just effectively that a large non-breeding colony.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that
So
sort of puts my mind, because I wrote a blog, and I made that comment. It's just like, well, that was slightly concerning that not once did I see one with food, and it's if this is a breeding colony, then there's something going on here. So that sort of explains that behavior, and yeah, but I mean, avian flu really hit that part of the world hard.
yeah,
It
so
didn't seem to affect the puffins as much as some of the other birds.
The skuas were really hit hard, I know,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
which ones, Josh?
The great
the Bunksies, the
Yeah,
skuas.
yeah, the Bunksies were hit really, and like that's really tough for the Bunksies. They're already quite a precarious colony, like but population up there. That's really hit them hard, the avian flu. But somewhere like Fair Isle, for example, they were hit really hard, the Bunksies on there. But the good news is they're starting to recover, which is really good news for the populations. And hopefully Shetland may be a bit slower on KMS, but hopefully they will recover in time.
I didn't when I was there, a few weeks ago, I thought there probably was about the same number of birds that there were in 23 when I went last time, and that was after the avian flu had really hit them hard.
Yeah.
So I didn't see any signs of numbers recovering there, and I didn't see much breeding activity either.
No, because you used to walking up that boardwalk, you quite often see Bunksies to the left and right of the boardwalk. But I mean, the main point is at least they're stable now, and hopefully they can slowly begin to increase. But I think it's interesting because avian flu passed to them by scavenging on birds which have been killed, like scavenging on the gannets predominantly. Really, that's how it passed to the Bunksies. But it's tough times for them. But hopefully they'll recover in time.
Did you see much evidence of it affecting the puffin
it's such an odd concept, avian flu, because a lot of the orcs, such as even the guillemots, weren't too badly affected, and you wonder how it passed from one bird to the next, because people say the puffins were protected more because they were in the burrows, so they weren't, like say the gannets are all
not
stacked
as
on the cliffs.
Yeah, they're on top of each other, aren't they?
Where the puffins are kind of in their individual burrows. That may well have had something to do with it, but I haven't seen them being affected too badly for it, which is great news.
Yeah, because the gannets got hit really badly, didn't they?
Really badly, particularly look, the place you see the worst was Bass Rock, for example. Bass Rock, you can see like almost half the rock was just completely empty. But the great thing with gannets is how quickly they can actually recover, because they are not like puffins where they rely on one food source like sand eels. Gannets are at least more general feeders, so they will do much better in the long term. You see Bass Rock's already starting to recover really quickly.
Well, I guess if there's more nesting space available as well, then that kind of helps, because there's only so many sort of pairs of gannets that actually could accommodate.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always going to be juveniles waiting out to see or whatnot to come in and take the places. So it's I think there's not too much concern for the gannets long term. I think they should be okay.
I always thought that would be a miserable death for a puffin to get caught by a skua. There's no talons. It's not a quick death. It has to be. Have you caught any of those moments, Kev, on Herman S. predation with skuas and puffins?
I've got quite a few shots actually. They're a bit gruesome to see, but it's basically a skua straight down the barrel of the lens with the whole puffin in its beak.
Wow.
And it's quite tough. Sometimes I've seen them. They're really sneaky. So in air. When in the air in flight, the puffins are quite too mobile really for the skuas. So I've actually seen the skuas stand right behind the burrow, behind it. So as the puffin comes back out again, it just grabs it that way, and that's how it takes them. And it's really tough to watch. But I mean, I know they eat puffins, but skuas are amazing birds in their own right.
Yeah.
They are so badass. They are.
I've
Like,
seen
I call them the Grim Reapers.
yeah, exactly. That's a great name for them.
Yeah. I've seen the Arctic skuas chase puffins, and they're more agile in the air. But
Yeah, exactly.
they seem to want them to drop if they have the eels, they want to. It doesn't seem like they'll predate.
I've never seen it. I've never seen an Arctic skua taking a puffin. Like they, as I say, they're more looking for fish or whatnot. Like they're too slender and streamlined. The Arctic skuas, while the bonksies are like tanks almost.
They're bouncers, aren't they? They're just
yeah. But when you see them like drowning gannets to make them regurgitate their food, they're just crazy birds of their own right. They're just so cool.
Because I always remember that shot that Bryden got of that. Of a bonksy taking, I think it was a puffin. It must have been a mid-air thing because it was quite gruesome. You recall that shot, Josh, don't you?
That was in Bird Body, wasn't it? A couple years
ago? It was in the book. Yeah, we put it in the book. Yeah, it must have been, or it was in my time, so it must have been 7 years ago now, I would think. Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was multiple bonksies in the one shot. I think
it was it might have been. I think it was
just one.
Just one, I think.
Yeah. Was it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was there was blood everywhere, and
they're pretty savage.
Well, I mean that's a hell of a beak.
Yeah.
They used to. I mean, I've heard because before flu really got them. I heard that they used to dive bomb people walking across the boardwalk because obviously you're going through their territory.
I mean, they do it on Fair Isle now more than anywhere. As soon as you leave any bit of the path like into the open ground, they would dive bomb straight towards you. But obviously, if they are, you'd back off because you're in the territory where the nest would be, so you don't want to keep pushing forwards. But it's still an intimidating sight to get these birds. They're big birds. You come right down, get within like a few inches of your face, and then pull away at the last second.
An Arctic tern is one thing, but it's a different thing when the skew is coming right at you.
But the Arctic terns are actually worse because they will actually hit you. They will actually like prick you in the head, while the skewers will more intimidate you and move away, while the terns will just like little daggers into your head.
Yeah, well, I've heard you definitely have to have a hat, don't you?
Yeah, I've got enough hair to protect me, so I'm okay.
Somebody told me once to take your fist and just put your hand up in the air because they'll go for the highest thing. So instead of your head, they'll go for your hand when you walk.
And that's why I always hate doing my workshops because they always attack the highest points, and I always tend to be the jet because I'm quite tall. I'm always generally the highest point, so they always go for me every time.
Well, you're the decoy, Kev. You see,
yeah, exactly, just a decoy. Yeah,
everybody gets the great shots of the turns coming in. And
yeah, well, I'm a turn sticking down my head. Yeah, exactly.
What's your favourite place to shoot? Do you think?
I will always say Fair Isle.
I knew you were going to say
that. Yeah, always. I say it every time. For me, it's not the biggest puffin colony, but it's by far the most beautiful. It's amazing place to feel a remoteness on there, being the most remote inhabited island in the British Isles. Just the carpet pink thrift there too in June is absolutely stunning, and it's just something about the island is so special, and it's so great to lead my first trips there this year because obviously in the bird reserve she sadly burned down, and they just reopened it this year, so I can lead my trips there again this year, and it's such a special place.
Yeah, I've never been actually. It's somewhere I do want to go.
Can you only get there by boat, or can you fly in?
Two options actually. So you can either get the small boat from Sunbury, it's roughly 2.5 hours from Sunbury to Fair Isle, or you can fly, which is a beautiful, nice 25-minute crossing. Okay. And it's basically just like a dirt runway on the island it lands on. But the only difficulty with Fair Isle is so weather dependent, because you get a lot of fog down that end when the flights don't go, it is too windy, the swell's too bad, the boat doesn't go. There's a lot of complications getting on and off the islands. But it's a fun. I think my favourite memory was on there. It was a real shame because the observatory burned down, but I got permission to go on there in my tent, so I camped on there for 2 weeks. And because there was all the locals live on the south side of the islands, and I was the only one basically with the Puffins for 2 weeks on my own. Didn't see like another person. It was so nice.
Oh wow.
It was such a special 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was really cool to be on Britain's remote island, like camping on the Puffin colony, like almost. It was a really special experience.
I bet.
The stories of you and your tent are legiondary, actually.
Yeah, it seems to be that way.
Yeah, that tent got a lot of use over the years, I suspect.
I know. I mean, yeah.
The rest of us are shaking their heads going, have you seen this guy? He's just like completely mad. He goes all weathered. He's in his tent for 2 weeks.
I love it though. They come like wild toffee folklore, these stories of my tent now, it feels like.
I think they do. Hilarious.
That one where I went all the way up there and forgot my tent. That's still like a legendary story now.
Oh, you forget your tent or your tent poles or something.
That was it, yeah. But then luckily, then some lady who I didn't know at the time let me stay in a motorhome while waiting for my tent to arrive. It's just like there's so many stories with my tent now that they just.
It sort of begs the question: is how the hell did you forget your tent? I mean, it's like forgetting your camera.
Well, you're right. It was actually a temple, so we got all the way up there, and I basically just had this big bit of fabric, temples. So it's just like, oh, and you know how long it takes to get to Hermanus from, especially when you're driving. It's like almost over a 2-day trip, really.
Well, from Hampshire, it's what 10 hours to Aberdeen. Then you've got the overnight crossing on the ferry, so you get on at 5:30 or whatever it is in the afternoon, and then you don't get there till 7 in the morning, and then you've got the inter-island ferries.
Yeah,
I mean they're only a quick. It's only a quick jaunt across the sounds there, but it's the driving, it's the waiting, it's the getting on, it's the getting off.
Yeah, it adds up so easy, like 2.5 hours from Layering up, and then you got the hike in from here to Hermanus too, and it's quite quite an adventure to go up there.
I had these grand plans, right, when I to think, oh well, if I'm there for like a week, I can go in there early morning, then I can come back and I can have a rest, then I can go back in the evening, and I thought after I did it once, I've forgotten how far this is.
Yeah, you won't do that.
I'm not doing this more than once a day.
Nah, once a day is enough for that. That's it.
I mean, it's not strenuous. It's just it just takes a while, doesn't it?
I did it. I tried doing it morning and night, and we just did the evening. And the light's better in the evening too, I think, right?
It's definitely an evening place really for the lights, because you get the light right out to sea, then coming back to the colony. The light in morning, it's not the best actually, because it's kind of the other side behind. It doesn't work too well. But I used to hike in and out each day, because I used to always hike out to the final checkout. So like the most northerly cafe
station with the grocery store.
That is a walk.
But I had to charge all my batteries and get stuff. So I sat in there for about 4 hours every day, charging my phone, my laptop, my camera batteries.
How long of a walk was that, Kev, to get there?
So I was camping to the Gallic colony on the right. So you're looking about I hiked back to the car park and then drove from there.
Yeah.
So not all the way. That's way too far.
So that's over an hour.
That's crazy.
To get back to the car from there.
No. Yeah. So it's like a hike back to the car park, then drove to the final checkouts, charged all my camera batteries, laptops, ate cheese toasties all day, and then went back for the evening shoot. I did that every day.
Wow.
But you're right. The evening there is it's something else, particularly when you get those bursts of light and they hit the water.
Oh, that's it. I actually prefer that than just a pure sunset. When you get that kind of dramatic light, like the shafts of light coming through the clouds and whatnot. For me, that's actually even better than just a sunset.
There were times when I just felt, oh, this light is just dancing. It's dancing behind the puffins, and it's creating all this lovely bokeh, and it's just magical. But when I was there, it was cloudy most of the time, so you didn't get that many opportunities where the sun was in the right place and it was hitting the right point of the water, and so these moments are fleeting, but when they happen,
but that's what makes wildlife photography so good, because if you had sunset every day, you get bored of it. You need to get excited when it actually does happen. It's like, wow, there's a sunset. Because as we said before about Shetland, it's always colder up there, but that also also means that the weather doesn't play ball very often. You say you don't get many sunsets up there.
But it can be so dramatic, can't it? And you can get, you know, the four seasons in one day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, cliche, but it's true. Yeah, I mean, I was having low cloud coming across and creating these. I mean, I've got videos of it. It's just really quite dramatic, where it's quite thick. So, but it was creating these lovely colors and textures and stuff with the sea, and then 5 minutes later it's all gone and you're back to again, and you're going, oh well, it's just,
the fog and the mist can create so much atmosphere up there. Say some of my wide angle shots with that kind of like with the mist just shrouded over the cliff tops and stuff. It's pretty special up there, those conditions.
Yeah.
I think I always find that I know light is everything, but sometimes in the poor conditions like this can be even more atmospheric with the fog and the mist and the rain. It's always cool images to be had.
I mean, you showed me an image, didn't you, with water droplets? And that you sent that to me. Yeah.
It's like he's just trying to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah. The one thing about Herman S, though, which is like the behind the scenes thing that no one knows about, it's the sheep. Oh, they shit, but dung. Oh, my clothes, I was covered in it everywhere. There's no way to avoid it, especially if you want to get down on the ground. I mean,
Josh, you got to embrace it, man.
Embrace it.
Yeah. That's the only thing you can do.
Well, at least it is a few of you. It becomes like a combined smell where you all smell of it. You don't notice it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, to be honest with you, I think it's better than goose crap, actually, because that's the worst when you're lying around a lake and whatever. And I'm always getting covered in that, for example. And that's
at least it's quite dry. The sheep, it's quite dry. It's not.
well, it was when I went because there was no rain really. Imagine when it gets wet.
I think you just got to accept that you're going to be rolling around in sheep poop at some point. It's just part and parcel of the business,
the experience.
But
I mean, the other interesting thing, though, isn't it, when you walk through the moorland habitat on the way there, are the other birds that are there as well. Things like snipe and
the plovers and stuff.
And all those sorts of things are really interesting. And in fact, I had a bonksy taking a bath in one of those little pools.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
So I had sort of 5 minutes photographing that when it was flapping around, and I mean, it was filling the frame with a 180 to 600. I was filling the frame with it.
Oh, cool! That sounds great. They're normally quite calm, those pools too. So like, sometimes get reflections in them and stuff. And cool. Yeah,
so it's so much stuff around. So it's not just about the puffins. I mean, it's that you turn left and then you get to the dramatic stuff with a gannet.
Yeah. I think I'd say it's controversial from the puffin man, but I actually prefer Herman S for the gannet shots. It's such an amazing place. It's like the gannets, the colony there, incredible. It's so cool. It's mind blowing. Every time you walk up that boardwalk and see that gannet colony to the left, it's just like wow every time.
Do you know what hits me though? It's when the first experience of it is the smell of it.
That
hits you first, and those are the things that. You can never get across in a photograph, and we said that we've had this discussion before, but those other sensory things you can't get across in a flat image, and sometimes it's trying to capture that magic as well, isn't it? It's really, really hard.
Yeah,
it's so tough. It's something like the size and scale, and there's so much going on there that in a still, it's hard. It's hard to do it justice, isn't it? It's really tricky. It's
one of those few places too where the wind comes up, and these birds will just have fun, and it's like they're standing still. They're just flapping in the wind, and they're right at eye level there. It's that really stood out.
Yeah, because the wind's coming off the ocean, it's hitting the cliffs, and it's this great big updraft, and it's blowing in your face.
It's one of them places where you just sometimes just put the camera down and just be like, wow, this is pretty cool here. And just don't actually take any images.
It's a physical feeling more than as much as it is a visual feeling.
That's a really interesting thing to say though, because this is what I don't think a lot of people do enough of, actually, is put the camera down and just experience those moments, because I actually think that makes you a better photographer when you do that, because then you have a broader feel for what's going on, and you photograph it from a point of emotion rather than just a literal representation of what you're seeing. And I think that makes a much more powerful set of images, actually.
There was a movie. True. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
So go on, Josh. I
was just gonna say there was a movie some years ago. I've only seen the clip. It's Life of Walter Mitty or something like that.
Yeah. With Ben Stiller in. Yeah.
Yes, Ben Stiller and what's his name?
Sean Penn, is it?
Sean Penn.
Yeah.
And he has the camera, and there's a snow leopard, and he basically says, sometimes I just want to enjoy the moment, something to that effect, and not take the picture. That totally stands out as we were talking about that.
Yeah, because I always say to people when we get up to M&S, like, people rush to get their cameras out. I'm always like, no, just give it a minute, give it like 5-10 minutes, because if you just rush straight in, there's so much going on. Like, you might get blinkered at the first opportunity. So I just say, just slow down, just watch what's happening. Like, it's just before you start taking images, because as I say, you could get blinkered to one opportunity and miss everything else around you which is happening.
It's sensory overload, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's just too much to see and too much to
the first time I went on the boat with Rebecca that's exactly what I did. I just turned around and said to her, I said, I've just got to take this in for a minute.
That's that is a whole new level. It's that is.
There's only two places I've been shooting birds where you get that sensory overload feel, at least I have. One is definitely Shetland, but the other, speaking of islands, in the Falklands.
And
Kev, I know you've been down there. I mean, that's you're just you have, instead of puffins, you've got penguins all around you. And
now I'm going to feel left out because I've not been.
It's very similar to Hermanus, actually. Some of these islands, like Kev, I don't know if you've been to like New Island or some of these where there's cliffs, and I mean it's absolutely incredible. It's the only place that would rival Shetland, in my opinion, would be the Falklands.
I think it, like, even there, though, the wildlife's even more approachable on the Falklands. Like, you got elephant seals, and nothing like is too phased by people, which that makes it even more of an overload, because like they'll shoot long, wide, this, that. There's so many options because everything. So it's an incredible place, isn't it? It's one of them places that every wild photographer should at least experience at some point. Because it's so cool.
It's definitely on my bucket list.
You got to go, Rob. I mean, you got to go.
Kev, what's your, when you go somewhere like that, and you know that you're going to get so many subjects, and there's going to be so many different things that you could focus on, what's your approach? Do you tend to pick one or two things and concentrate on those, or do you just go for it?
I think if you are, say, the Falklands, and you say like, just go for it. There is, as you say, it's too much of a sensory overload. There is just so much going on. So I always try and, like, certain times of day, certain things work better. Like, for example, on sea lion, like mid-afternoon onwards, you get all the gentoos returning back from the fishing grounds, and it's really cool. These big groups of gentoos crashing out of the waves. So I basically kind of get people to focus on individual things, like we'll work on this for like a period, and then we'll try this, and it's kind of tailored around the conditions too. Like one morning we had this amazing sandstorm with blowing winds and stuff, and then you're drawn to focus on that. It kind of often depends what the wildlife is doing and what the conditions are doing, really, and then you choose to focus on what's working best. I find, because if you just go out and say, oh, with an open mind, it is quite tricky, because you look, these gentoos there, rockhoppers there, king penguins, like, oh, this. So you need to just.
And then you have the colonies behind you, right?
Exactly.
Colony, you stay on the beach, and
and this is even more so to slowing down, because you just need to see what's happening, and just photograph whatever is working best in that moment. Well,
it's a good approach.
The approach I took when I went to Shetland, it was what am I going to concentrate on? If I'm going to Unst, am I going to go and try and do too many things like otters or this, that, and that? I thought, no, actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Hermanus every day, just concentrate on that. And not only that, for the first 4 days, I'm just going to do puffins. So I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
going to go back to the same place, do it again and again and again, and review the images in the evening and go, right, what worked, what didn't? Are there any ideas I can take from what I've shot today to take into the field tomorrow? That sort of thing. So you just focusing on 1 or 2 things rather than trying to run around and do everything.
Exactly.
And
So
I think
'cause
that way, yeah.
I do the same as you. So if I'm going up to Hermanus in the evening, I would say I'm going to focus on gannet tonight, or I'm going to focus on puffin tonight. If you try and do both, you get a bit all over the place. Just concentrate on one of them, and it seems to. It definitely seems to be the best approach.
Yeah, I mean, you always get those opportunistic moments, don't you? With
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Something
or something
yeah.
like that that's doing something, but
Mm.
yeah, it's just sort of focusing on 1 or 2 things. And as you say, you know, the weather conditions are always different. You know, one evening I had really beautiful light, and I had plenty of puffins as well, because it was one of those days when they were coming. And actually, they do tend to come in. If they are going to come in, they'll come in later on in the afternoon as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
From mid-afternoon onwards, and then you gather bigger numbers from that point and build and build.
Yeah. And I was getting them really nicely backlit in the, you know, flying in, and the routine was fairly consistent. So you learn the routes, and yeah, as you sat and watched them. So then I'd do that, and then the next night the light wasn't the same; it was different. So I'd go and do something else, and I'd go and try something really out of the box and stupid, which most of the time doesn't work. but I actually, I mean, I don't know whether you agree with this, but I often say that if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
Exactly. I think, I mean, the more creative you try and be, the more you probably fail, because like the more creative you be, the more experimental you become, the more you try different approaches, you try different things. If you just play it safe and take a documentary shot of a puffin, you probably succeed every time. But by trying to push the boundaries and push outside of that, then that's when when you're more prone to fail. But you also have the bigger awards too, though. So it's it's a balance.
do you have sort of preconceived ideas in your brain before you go out about the shot?
Never. I think I always get asked this, and I never go out saying, "Oh, I'm going to shoot this or this or this." I just go out and see what the wildlife is doing, what the light's doing, what the weather's doing, and then work out best what the situation is. I've never gone out thinking I want this shot.
Yeah, and it prevents you from being in a situation where you're trying to force an outcome, right? You don't have that internal pressure. You're just, you know, reacting to what's happening in front of you.
I find it so much better to react rather than just be blinking on this one shot to like focus on. I find that works better. I mean, I remember there was one shot I wanted a few years back when I remember it was a rising moon over Hermanus actually. And I managed to get this one puffin silhouette against a rising moon.
I remember that shot.
Yeah. And that was really tricky because that was almost dark then, and there was no contrast between anything. So the only way you could focus was just when the head was just against the actual moon, and that was incredibly tricky, that shot. But that was but I remember walking back from the gallants and seeing the rise and moon, like, oh god, this would be great to get some puffins in front of that. And then just as my luck, there was a small group still out on the cliffs. Like, I couldn't believe my luck in that moment.
Wow. That would have been pretty late as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was around 1:30, 2 a.m, something like that. It was walking. And that's, I don't go onto the camping stuff too much, but that's one of the beauties of camping on there, because
you're there.
I got out at 2 a.m. and my tent was right there next to me. And it's just like you're not going, because it takes a long time to hike out again and get back to your accommodation. So you can just be in. I think the 2 people I drew some of my biggest inspiration from in photography was Paul Nicklin and Vincent Munier. The two guys who truly immerse themselves in the habitat. Like Vincent was the first guy to do the wolves on Ellesmere years ago, but he did it properly. He was out there like camping on the snow and the ice, and he did the same for Dovrefell, camping in the snow for the muskox. And I think by immersing yourself in the habitat, you also get the better images, because you are there on hand for the best light, the best weather, the best behavior, the best conditions. And it's just, if you are away in an accommodation like an hour away, it's trickier because you wake up in your nice comfy bed, like you'll have a cup of tea, your breakfast, and before
Exactly.
you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
before you
That's a
know, it's
great,
like,
yeah.
yeah, before you know, it's like, oh, I have to hike into Hermanus now. But if you are camping, you have no option but to be
Yeah.
there on location and just fully focused on photography and nothing else. And that's what I find. It's kind of like, well, not like therapy, but it's like it just focuses your mind on it and nothing else. And I love that approach to photography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's just
that's absolutely right. Like we were talking, that's such a great point, Kev, because like even in the Falklands, we stayed when I was there with Derek at the house at Volunteer Point.
yeah,
We were
yeah,
able to go in and out, but we were right there when anything would happen, as
yeah.
opposed to the folks who had to come in from Stanley on a bus. They just didn't have
Yeah,
the same
exactly.
opportunities. It was
Yeah,
very,
you just can't. But you were there. If you were on location, then you were just you had a much better chance than anyone who's coming in and out on a bus.
Yeah,
It's just me. I just a quick story. I had a funny story when I first met Derek. Have you stayed, Joe, at the Volunteer Point, the house? Did you stay at the house itself? So
I was a puss. I didn't. There was a camping area. I'm like,
yeah,
I'll stay in the house.
I stayed at the house too. So
Yeah.
there's a really steep set of stairs from the top.
Yeah.
And I first introduced myself to him, and he showed me to my room upstairs. I was like, oh,
yeah, you have to duck. There's
yeah,
that.
exactly. Those rooms. So he showed me to my room, and he was walking back down the stairs, and I followed him, and I took one step and slid down the steps so fast, but I hit Derek on the way down too. and he was carrying his two cats, and we all ended up in this massive heap at the bottom of the stairs. With his cats went everywhere. Derek was on top of me, and it was such a funny story. I always remember that was the first time I met Derek, and he still talks about that every time I see him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah,
Yeah.
bruises, Kev.
I know, yeah, probably. But just back to the point again. It's such a big difference by being there. Like it's just for me, you can't comprehend how big a difference it makes. Just even this year, I was on Hermanus. I was staying at my friend Bryden's accommodation, and as much as you want to get up there, it is harder when you're staying away from it in accommodation. Because I remember I was like, I don't know, I made a cup of coffee, I was watching TV, like, oh, I might go up to Hermanus in a bit, I might not. But if you are camping, you have no option but to photograph. You have to do that. And it makes such a big difference.
The temptation just is gone, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Like you could be like in the house, oh, it looks a bit when windy, a bit cold out there, like oh make another like coffee or something.
You make these excuses for yourself, don't you? Yeah.
You do, exactly. But if you're in your tent, you have to photograph because it's that or sit inside my tent. And it makes such a big difference. And it's I've just done that my whole career through the seabirds, and I just love it.
Because even if you were in a motorhome and you're in the car park I mean, that's still a hell of a walk.
Even that, you're still coming an hour in to hike. It's still an hour in, and especially you go all the way to like towards Muckle Flugger on the right hand side, all the way to the end. That is one hell of a walk down to the end.
Yeah.
So it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And it's just it's
but like you were talking about getting that shot with the moon, right? It got me thinking a little bit. As you know, Rob was saying right off the top, the puffin is photographed almost maybe the most photographed species of bird, right? Everybody has so many photos of puffins. Do you think at this point it's even possible to create a unique, groundbreaking image of a puffin based upon what's already been captured? I don't know.
No, I don't think it is. I think no matter how photographed the species has been, there's always will be a new way to photograph it. It doesn't matter. There will always be a new way. Like I sent Rob an image this a few weeks ago of a puffin with the range ups, like really close up the range ups on its back, and there is always new perspectives, and I think that's what I love about puffin photography. Like it almost feels like the bar's been raised higher with puffins than any other animal, because you see so many images of them that you have to evolve and be creative to stand out above the rest of the people. And I love that test every year.
It's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. I always see this challenge to myself to be how to like evolve and how to create something new or different or original, and it is possible. You just need to think outside the box a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I was there and I was thinking I could fill my boots with all the standard shots here, no problem. But it just didn't interest me at all. I'm
Exactly.
thinking,
Like, what is the point now?
Well, there's no point, right?
It would get lost.
Doing...
It would get lost in the noise of every other image. You may as well. I always say, like, for me, I would any day of the week rather come back with one creative image than just 100 record average shots. Like, what do you gain from that? You don't gain anything from that.
That's another interesting question, actually, and a question I ask quite a lot of top photographers. During the course of a year, how many images do you think you produce that you are really happy with? You go, yeah, that's a 5-star image, or however you want to, however you want to measure it. How many of those do you think you actually end up with at the end of a year?
Well, I'll use it over the course of the puffin season. Maybe I would say probably no more than 10. I would be no more than 10, and that's at a maximum.
Yeah.
That I would be like super happy with. This year was a little bit different because this year was the first year I actually got puffins in the snow. So any image in the snow I love. So maybe this year's a bit bigger. but overall, I would no more than 10, because if you say you got like 200 images you loved, then I can't have all those 200 images of these new and unique perspectives. So you've got to have a small niche set. Because it's just, you can't have that big a number of new and different creative images.
Yeah, I mean, I came back, I think, I didn't come back with 50,000, but I must have taken 50,000 images.
Easy.
Which is fairly easy to do.
Especially experimenting with your
and
slow shutters or something, then you take a lot.
And I mean, particularly with the gannets, right? You've got subjects are just all the time. You're photographing all the time because they're just coming past you. So you can rack up that sort of number quite easily. And so I reckon out of those 50,000 pictures, I probably got maybe a dozen that I would process properly, maybe 2 or 3 that I'm really happy with. I sent you 1 or 2, didn't I? The one with the bokeh behind it, the silhouette and the little feather popping out, the puffin. Remember that shot? And then the ones actually behind me on my screen. I mean, people won't be able to see it, but on the video call, I've got just gannets and like a circle around the rock. It's just a nice formation of birds in the air. So the dramatic ocean and around the rocks and the colony. But I think I probably got half a dozen that I would process properly, I would think, out of all that.
But I always kind of drum home to my guests and my workshops, like, as long as you come home each day, maybe 1 or 2 images you're happy with, that's all that matters. Like, you don't be coming back with these like 200-300 images. Like, as long as you got like 1 or 2 you're really happy with, that's the important bit. Because like, it's not quality over quantity, really. You want to get real top quality images than hundreds of just average images. And it's always the way. And like, I think it's harder for me now with puffins because I've got so many puffin images. To get something new and different is harder now, but it is still possible.
Speaking of different, Kev, one quick question when it comes to puffins in snow, like you're talking about Norway and Iceland. I only recently started to see a lot of puffin images in the snow. Is this something new, or are
no? So
many
years? Hornea has been around for 20, 25. It's been around forever.
I can't remember who it was, but there was it was Jan Vermeer, I think, was the first Dutch guy that did it. But there was a picture in Bird Photographer of the Year when I was still doing it with fighting puff, because they've scuffled, don't they? And they roll down the down the slopes. Wow. And that was the first time I saw that, and I thought, oh wow, that was like a standout image. I forget who took it, so apologies if you're listening, but I just thought that was amazing. That was an amazing picture.
I think it's getting harder and harder now, though, because of stuff like climate change, for example. Like when I've been going there for 4 or 5 years now, And this year was definitely the most mild. Like it was like plus 6 degrees it was on there. And like my first year there was like -10 or something, and I was like +6. And like I know you may well have seen those images of the puffins in the snow I got from this year. Like that looks like this incredible snowy like island covered in snow. But the reality is it was like spring. And I had 10 minutes of heavy snowfall. No more than 10 minutes. I got all these shots in this 10 minutes. After that, snow completely gone. It's back to spring again. Like it's getting hot. It's yeah. I mean, who knows each year, but it is certainly same with this, the mountain hares. These winter trips are getting harder and harder to predict now, it feels like.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because people don't see what's behind the lens, do they?
No.
Yeah. So it's either the conditions you've waited for so long, and then there's just this fleeting little moment, as we've discussed before, and it's, and you get half a dozen pictures that you're really happy with in a very short time slot, but you've waited days for that.
Exactly. Like it's like I say, I had this. I had my group with me on Honey this year, and we had 4 or 5 days on the islands, and the pictures everybody loved the most were in those 10 minutes. That's all everybody had come for, to get these puffins in the snow. So it's like the most intense 10 minutes photography ever, just to get these images. And then after that, it's completely gone again. It was bonkers.
What time of year is that, Kev? Is that like March, April?
So it has to be basically the puffins return roughly mid-March, which is earlier than the UK, and then you hope last week of March is the best time to visit, because you got the most chance of wintry conditions. Then it's a fine balance, because you want to be there for the most chance of snow, but also not too early that the puffins haven't settled yet. It's quite it's a tricky balance.
Okay,
but it's a fantastic place though. It's just, for me, like the guillemots are almost more impressive there. Like there's these huge guillemot colonies, and when they take off, you're at the base of the cliffs looking up, and then it's like the sky goes.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
It's
incredible to see. You hear this like swoosh sound, and like the sky goes black. It's
and
really
you still get
cool.
that contrast with the sknow and the what, because they're dark as well, right?
Yeah. It's a great. If everyone gets a chance, like. I know I just said it's kind of milder, but it's still a great place to visit if you ever get a chance. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'd love to go.
Yeah, the place I've been visiting quite a lot recently is Grimsey in Iceland. That's quite cool. So Grimsey is the only part of Iceland which is in the Arctic Circle, and there you can fly off the midnight sun, which is really cool. And that's a great experience to see, because you basically shoot through the night and you get the sunset and sunrise at exactly the same time. It's mental. So you watch the sun come right the way down to the horizon. So you get the sunset, touches the horizon, and then goes up again, and then you get sunrise straight after. It's incredible. So you basically get like almost 3 hours of just mental red light. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. And you think like the thing is, like Skomer, for example, in Wales, they have around 40,000 puffins on there. This place has got 250,000. It's bonkers.
Oh my God. So the numbers are much higher. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You think we got good numbers in the UK, but something like 60% or 60 or 80% of the world's population breed on Iceland's Atlantic Puffin. There was huge numbers on there.
Is there Arctic fox there? There must be, right?
Yeah. On a place called Hornstrada, which is these Arctic fox there. I think there's a lot of photography trips go there now. But the only the negative of Iceland is they're nowhere near as approachable as the ones in the UK, because on Grimsey they're actually still on the menu. I've heard that. They're fine. They're just normal, but they're not like, they won't be crawling around your feet or your head like they do here.
So they're treating a bit more caution.
They're a bit more cautious. They're still okay, but they're definitely more cautious.
One thing I've noticed in the UK, and it's worked for me in a couple spots, if I vocalize like them, I'm gonna do a bad impression, but when I'm there, I try to make
he did it with me the other day.
And they'll walk right up to me.
Really? To be honest, I've never actually tried that.
Try that, Kevin.
I'll try it next time.
I've got to question your ethics, Josh. This is called playback.
Yeah, that's
playback. Yeah, it's natural playback, I guess.
I definitely need to try that, John.
Yeah.
I had one come right in, and it was like looking right at me. And I
Oh,
just
you must
kept
do a
making
great Puffin impression for that then. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you must have the tone nailed down.
I must have, yeah.
That's well cool.
So we interviewed Yuri, didn't we? Not so long ago when we were at
Yeah.
Bird Fair. And one of the things I was asking him over the course of the weekend, because I knew I was going to Shetland, was because he's master of slow shutter.
Yeah.
As I said to him, have you, because I haven't seen any Puffin shots of his slow shutter. I said, have you not tried slow shutter with Puffins? He goes, yes, it doesn't work. And I said, it's got to work. Surely it's got to work. And I tried my hardest. Couldn't really get anything. Has slow shutter been an approach that you've tried with Puffins?
When you say slow shutter, do you just mean you put like panning kind of thing,
Well,
or
panic
flight
or
shots?
ICM. I tried a lot of ICM with them. So jiggling the camera around when they're walking around.
That's quite tricky. I've had some success with the panning shots, but the ICM he's right, is certainly tricky with Puffins, that's for sure.
Maybe the wing beats, because the wing, when they fly, their wings aren't going up. It's very
you're not getting these swirling patterns with them because they're
they're so erratic with their movement. It's hard, really. And so I've tried even like multiple exposures. They're quite tricky with Puffins too. I've used them with the gannets because I always feel like with the multiple exposures you need quite like a dense colony. So I've done them with king penguins, I've done them with gannets, but because Puffins are quite like sporadic all over the place, it's quite hard to.
I did them with I did a close up of a head, and then I put it against the sea. So where it was all breaking around, where the surf is breaking around the rocks and things. I did that, and that worked quite well.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
a couple of things that way. So you deliberately go in really tight, and then you zoom out and you look at the ocean. So that kind of worked. But it's really tricky. Yeah, it's really tricky.
Yeah, he's right there. They're not the easiest for that kind of approach.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I mean, it's just because you think it would work, but
I guess when they're on land, they don't move that fast either. So it's quite tricky to like get that move with them because they're kind of just standing still or pottering left or right. So
I find if you did the ICM, so they might be standing still and you're jiggling the camera, you kind of get this double imaging a lot of the time because of the white, I think, and you're against the green, and so the white is the predominant thing that's going to
it takes away from the head, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you know, the
so
big white chest.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that album cover that Queen did years ago, in the 70s or whatever it was, with their heads and the four band members' heads? It was kind of like that, where you're getting this sort of double impression. And it just didn't really work. It was really bizarre.
Oh, that was the single for Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, that was the one.
I was going to say Day at the Races. Now you have me going through my Queen.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, what we do, Kev, every episode, we've got to talk about music somewhere down the line.
Oh, okay. yeah. A big Bob Dylan fan myself. That's the kind of music I listen to. Yeah,
exactly.
I liked him when he was unplugged, though. When he plugged in, I didn't like him as much. I liked him.
Yeah,
like a Rolling Stones, my favorite Bob Dylan. Classic.
I drove through his hometown in Minnesota when I was photographing great gray owls. There was one right outside of the town that he lived in, Minnesota, which is pretty cool.
Well, no way, that's wicked.
They're like, Bob Dylan's from here? I'm like, no.
No, that's well cool.
So Kev, let's talk about your book.
Yeah, go
for a minute, and because that's got to be one of the most amazing. Well, it probably is the most amazing collection of Puffin photos
thanks.
available. How did that come about?
It was, just to almost go full circle back to the start of the conversation, it actually came almost off the back of the recognition of Bird Photographer of the Year. They kind of went hand in hand. So the winning the portfolio prize then got my name out there. Then I got approached shortly after by a publisher based in Scotland, and it came off the back of that. And it's, for me, it's one of the best things to think. Honestly, like, strip back any awards or anything I've had over my career, this is definitely the thing I'm most proud of by a long way, because this was, it was a lot of work, because I did all the text myself, like obviously the images. I had a designer, which was helpful, but I wrote the whole book myself, and that was a big commitment.
Yeah,
That was
it is a big commitment. I know. Yeah, I can know only too well. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
how
I think
long did it take you to put that book together?
it's hard to put in. Well, what helped quite a lot was it was just before COVID. I got commissions. So the COVID, it gave me a goal and things to work towards during the COVID years. So basically, when we were locked down, allowed me to write my book, which was great because I had a purpose every day. So that was really good, and it must have took. It probably was like the best part of a year to write it, I would say. Yeah, it took a long time, because you're constantly going back and forth because you have to like get the correct narrative too. Like the last thing I wanted it to be was just like, hey, here's a pretty picture book of puffins. Like that's like nobody gains anything for that. So I basically wanted to tell the story of the puffin, like weave in my own personal stories, and then also tell the issues they face and what we could do to help them as well. So I wanted to kind of tell the full story, not just like, hey, here's a picture of Puffin, here's a nice picture of Puffin again. Like, that's just pointless, really, because
you can scroll through Instagram for that.
Exactly. So I wanted to tell the whole story, and I'm so happy that the publisher actually initially picked a different image for the front cover, but I really wanted the image which it is now because I thought that was more impactful. That for just basically a full frame portraits, and it just and to get people, as I said before, like Paul Nicklin was when I started, my biggest, basically biggest inspiration, and for him to actually provide the quotes for the book was just I still can't believe that. For someone who, when I first picked up a camera, to then that guy to provide me a testimonial to use on the book was mind blowing.
Quite an honor.
Really incredible.
Yeah, so I was really proud of that.
Yeah, these people are human, but you do get these pinch me moments, don't you?
You get this thing like they're kind of like a pedestal, but we're all just human beings, really.
Yeah, but you do get these pinch me moments, don't you? You know, and sometimes you don't realize it's like I look back at bird photographer, for example, mentioning that competition and being in a room full of those judges, sat in the news building, which is next to the Shard in London, 15 floors up, overlooking the Thames, being in this room full of these sort of luminaries, and that's a real pinch me moment, because you think they're all looking at me going, right, what we doing, and and you're coordinating this whole thing. So it's that you forget.
It's easy to forget. Like, it's these people you're kind of like you see on social media, and you like look up to, and then the next thing you're in the same room as them, and we're all equals. It's a really weird it's a weird feeling.
It is. When you get onto a stage in front of people, with these people as well, it's just it's terrifying, but
exactly,
it's incredible.
But it's like on the back to Puffin, like it's weird. I can't comprehend like where I would be in my career without puffins. Like, I know it sounds like a weird statement, but I say like there was like best of the year in my book, speaking of the photography show at the Karen stand, talking about my work with puffins this year. It's like it's incredible to know where they took me in my career. It just never, each day is like a pinch me moment. Like, how have I got to where I am with just like photographing puffins kind of thing? It's just an amazing experience, just amazing journey, really.
So where do you see it going from here? That's the next question.
Yeah, so I would never. I mean, I did in a way. My book coming out felt like a fitting closure to the whole project, but it doesn't seem that way because I've still photographed them non-stop all the time. But what I would really like to do as a big thing is visit St. Paul's Islands off Alaska, because I would absolutely love to add the horned and the tufted to my kind of.
Oh yeah, that would be.
I think that would be a great way to really complete the whole puffin kind of thing, really, to get those subjects as well.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there. I know you have to budget time like anything else.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Get in and out. I photographed the horned and tufted puffins on an island, not St. Paul. It was not far from silver salmon, which is a
Ah,
lot.
okay.
Down
I stayed there actually. Yeah.
Oh yeah, did you
Yeah,
get on
yeah.
the boat where they take you to the? There's a little island where puffins breed.
No, I
They
didn't
take-
go actually. It's about 10 years I went when I very first started. I went
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, Oliver and his dad still, I think, run it. I forgot their
Okay.
last. Yeah, but
Mm.
anyhow, they have a thing now where they'll take you on the boat. It's about a 20-minute ride, and they drop you off on the island, and you can photograph them. So it's pretty
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
And how
it's
kind
not
of like
St. Paul's, but it's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
good.
St. Paul's reminds you a bit like Scoma or Hermanus, where you can stay on there and then be there for like sunset and sunrise and
And
stuff.
you can get like parakeet auklet and some of
Yeah,
these
yeah,
other
exactly. Some of those bears look incredible, but as you say, it's not a place to probably leave the trip because because of the you never know with the weather window where you get on there or off there. But as a personal project, I'd love to go there one day. That's
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
you
the
have to go.
pinnacle for me, really.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool.
Okay, taking seabirds out of the equation, what's the one bird that you'd love to photograph or have a project photographing outside of seabirds?
I probably achieved my goal this year. Well, not this year, but by seeing my albatross, the black-browed albatross. That had always been my dream to see an albatross one day because there's something about those birds which is just, I don't know what it is about them. I can't even put it into words. When you're face to face with an albatross, that is pretty special. Like these birds are in, and I'd love to see the. I think for me, my ultimate dream. I wouldn't say it's a bird I've already photographed, but my ultimate goal is to get to South Georgia one day. Like that place looks mind blowing. Like king penguins on Falklands. I know 1,000 birds, like 500,000 on say on that St Andrews Bay. And that place would just blow my mind. And the history with Shackleton and all that, and it just looks an incredible place. That would be. It's not to answer your question, Rob. It wouldn't be one bird. It'd probably be a location, I would say. And I would say South Georgia would be, for me, top.
Amazing.
It's always been top of the list, and it'd be a mind blowing place.
Yeah, Josh, what about you? Have you got a bird that you haven't photographed yet that you really want to photo? Is there one that really sticks out to you?
I always value more the experience and the location than the species, if that makes sense. But oh, geez, I honestly, I don't think I can think of one, to be honest, Rob, in terms of something that I have not yet photographed. I mean, from just a rarity standpoint, spoon-billed sandpiper, if it were possible.
Cliche.
But
you're coming out with the cliches today, John.
Yeah, I know, very cliche. I know this is true. Yeah, but that's the one because that's going to be gone soon, right? So at least I think it is in our lifetime, maybe. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I've always been fascinated by shoebill, which I know is
they look they do look crazy, those birds.
That's always been because it looks so prehistoric, I think, and
they don't even look real. They're crazy.
So I'd love to do that, and I'd love to do that in a different way. Can you imagine shoebill slow shutter? Have you ever seen shoebill slow shutter? No. Right, so I'd love to do that. So that's a bit of an ambition. But
shoebill reminded me of it. I'll throw a bird out there because everybody's photographed it. I feel like in Europe, but me, the Dalmatian pelican. That's one.
Go to Kikini. Yeah,
there's more cliche for you, I guess.
Well, I was talking to Ellie Rothley actually about Kikini when we were at Bird Fair. So Well, in fact, we're trying to line her up as well, get her on, so we could talk to her about that bird.
Perfect, yeah.
When we bring her on, but
they're almost the new puffins now. You see so many like Dalmatian pelican images these days. The new puffins now.
I mean, when I first started seeing them, again, bird photographer, which I have to thank for that one. It's incredible because that's when Kikini was starting to become really popular. And Bensay Marte, his incredible work that he did with them. And I remember the first year getting a load of images from him, where I think he was trailering cameras, wide angle lenses behind the boat, and he was feeding them. They were coming in. He was getting all these gawky angles and stuff. It was superb stuff. But,
and I hear the water's cloudy there, where they will actually attempt to filter the water and get it, and have these areas so they can get clear shots.
They do all sorts of stuff. And I think, it's not I don't know. Again, this is one of those things where you don't see what's behind the lens with these places, and the shots themselves, you can't see what's gone on behind it. And I think the reality of taking those images now probably is it's almost a don't meet your heroes type situation. You know what I mean?
I think there's probably a lot of kind of fish overboard, a lot of bait and like that kind of thing. I think it's probably quite a lot, especially when the ones that follow the boats. And I think it's
that's what I really enjoyed actually about Herman S. was just there was nothing. I wasn't even trying to make puffin calls like Josh. You know, it was just there was no enticement. There was nothing. You're just in there. They're doing their natural things. They're not even paying you too much attention, and it just feels so raw.
Well, that's why I looked like, say, when WildArt through the year changed their rules to say like there's zero disturbance allowed anymore to the wildlife, no baiting, no setups, no nothing. And a lot of people are up in arms about it. But I was like, you know what, like, look at the work we've done, puffins, gannets, none of that is affected by that. It's all completely natural, completely raw, and as it is, nothing is affected by it. It's just animals in their natural habitat with you're not changing the way they behave or anything. It's a great experience.
And I think it is time that competition stood up and started doing this, you know, which is why, you know, obviously with WildArt, we've done, you know, very, very similar thing. Because again, this is a conversation we've had before, and we had with Vince actually, didn't we, Josh?
Yeah.
Well, in fact, by the time this goes out, that one will have come.
That'll be going out.
Before, that's episode 49.
And Georgina as well.
And Georgina, it's time that we changed our attitudes, because gone are the days where there are a handful of photographers where the impact is fairly minimal. We're now talking about thousands and thousands of people where these things are being repeated and repeated and repeated, and then the effects are cumulative. And I think it's time we changed our attitude towards it. And it's no good people being up in arms going, oh, why isn't this allowed? Well, think about it. You need to take a step back and think about what you're doing. Because we've all been there, we've all done it. I've used call playback.
Yep.
You know, I've been to hides where they've, you know, been in a baited situation.
I think we all realized about when I first started, I visited the Kingfisher hide, for example. I've seen how it operated, never used one again, but there's a lot of things to go behind.
Those shots tend to leave me a bit cold.
Definitely.
You feel a bit,
and they typically result in situations where you're stagnant, right? You're sitting in a blind, you're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
I like being able to move around the field.
Me
too. Yeah.
I get bored if I'm just sitting in a hide.
And that's why say the three of us were sitting in a hide, like I don't use a kingfish, for example, and we would, all three of us would probably we would get identical image. But go to Herman S. The possibilities are endless. We could all get next to each other and get a completely different image, because it's just the freedom up there and the space.
Don't you love it when you do that? Because then you're looking at what other people are taking, you're going, how the hell did you get that? Or there's an idea that you go, I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do that in a different way. Or
but I think
whereas in a hide, you're very conditioned.
It encourages more creativity as well, because you're not restricted to like a one viewpoint or a beta situation. You just got your freedom to shoot however you want to shoot, really. And I think it makes massive difference to photography.
It does.
Yeah.
I think should we leave it there?
Oh wow,
we're sort of an hour.
We could go on honestly for hours.
It could go on all night here, actually.
When Kev first came on, because we're recording this really late at night, so it's now midnight in the UK. So well done, Kev. Thanks very much for coming on late at night. But when he first came on, he said to me, he said, "Oh, how long do these things go on for?" I said, "Yeah, about an hour." But we tend to go. They do tend to go on a bit, and of course, you get into a conversation, and now we're sort of almost an hour and a half in, or whatever we are. So they just fly by. So yeah, all of a sudden I'm thinking, "Oh, crikey!" It's been a fascinating discussion. I'm really glad to get you on, and really glad to get you on for the 50th episode, which is a real milestone for us. So yeah, thanks so much for agreeing to do this and for coming on late at night. It's been really good.
Oh, no worries. Absolute pleasure to be. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, for all of the listeners out there, when it comes to Puffin images, look up Kev's book. You have to see this book and his images. I mean, they're out of this world. So please,
we'll so it's called Puffin's Life on the Atlantic Edge, and I'll leave a link to Kev's website and whatever on the in the show notes, so people can go and check you out.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks everybody for listening, and thanks, Kev. Thanks, Josh, and we'll see you all again next time. You have been listening to the Wildlife Photography Podcast. If you have enjoyed the content, then please help us to spread the word by sharing a link on your social media platforms, giving us a like, and leaving us a comment. See you all again next time.